In this house are many rooms. You thought you remembered them, but everything keeps changing.
Art. It moves us, it challenges us, it expresses the inexpressible. But what if the brush is code and the palette is an algorithm? Can AI make creativity and expression accessible to everyone, breaking down barriers of skill, expertise, and even ability? I delve into this issue with a New York-based artist who goes by the name of Silva. Tell me a bit more about this piece in this house that we've just seen.
When I was thinking about what it feels like right now to live in the rise of AI, so you can't quite get your footing and everything seems familiar, but it's also changing constantly and moving very fast, hard to keep up. So I wanted to interpret visually what it feels like for humans in the age of AI, and also what it might feel like for future AI looking back on the age of coming up in us, you know what I mean? So we're kind of both children right now in this huge, complicated house.
Can you tell us a bit about why you chose to go anonymous and kind of work with an avatar?
I spent a lot of time on this website, which was called 4chan. There's a culture on 4chan of anonymity. What 4chan did was it prioritized ideas over identity. So it didn't matter if you were male or female. It didn't matter where you were from or what race you were or what class you were from. The only thing that mattered was the ideas that you put forth, because no one knew anything otherwise. I found that really beautiful. As someone from a poor background, I found that incredibly refreshing. And I feel like that's a very fair way to judge people. But now I like it because also the internet is crazy, and it's nice to, not have to worry about that so much.
Can you tell me a bit then about how AI has empowered you as an artist?
So I had a prior career in something unrelated to art. I do not come from an art background. I got hit with a really serious, life-changing chronic illness several years ago. And I couldn't work anymore. And so I was just sort of home alone all the time, feeling sorry for myself and spending a lot of time on the internet. And I came across people talking about Westworld, which is a television show about AI. And so I watched that and was fascinated, because I was thinking of a future where AI had solved for illnesses like mine, and what that might look like, what stories we might tell ourselves that make us feel heroic, what overcoming means, what society might look like. And I made maybe 30,000 images in the first few days. I didn't eat, I didn't sleep, I was absolutely obsessed, because it felt like I was creating something and doing something, and I eventually got the courage to start uploading them to social media. It's absolutely changed my life. I went from sick and alone in my room doing nothing to having this incredible life I could have never dreamed of because of the accessibility of AI.
Now, that sounds like an amazing story. Could you tell me a bit more then about where then is the boundary between you as the artist and AI? Is it a completely blurred boundary?
I like to think of us as collaborators. I say I'm an AI collaborative artist because it's basically that together we make things that neither of us could have done alone. AI has the skill to create the work. I don't necessarily have that, but I have the taste to direct where I want it to go and to shape it into my vision. And it's always kind of some give and take. Sometimes it's delightful, sometimes it's frustrating, sometimes it's completely bizarre, but it's almost like having a collaborator offering ideas you hadn't thought of, and you can kind of blend them together into something, more than either of you could do alone.
So I guess this leads to another question, right? Often people have said that AI art is theft. It's like stealing from the artist, but it sounds like yours is a much more complex relationship. Is AI art theft?
AI art is not theft. I can say that definitively, and I can explain why. So people think that AI essentially holds millions, billions of images, right? And when someone enters a prompt, let's say for John Singer Sargent, it digs through the images and it finds images that Sargent has made, and then it kind of hodgepodges them together in this collaged, abomination, and it outputs something that is mimicking Sargent from those chunks. That's not how AI works, actually. How it works is that it learns concepts, it learns traits, it learns that Sargent was a painter and that he often painted figures, and it learns that Sargent often painted them with this sort of lighting or this quality of brushstroke. It takes all of those things that it's learned and it uses them to create something new, which is how our minds work. That's how we work. We are the product of influence. We don't create in a vacuum. The problem is that AI is so efficient at creating something new from the influences that it is given that people mistake it for theft, but it isn't.
That's a wonderful, very nuanced answer. Thanks. I'm curious about one other kind of set of stereotypes, opposing stereotypes actually. Some people say that AI breaks down barriers. Others say that it reinforces barriers and it kind of deepens the inequalities that already exist in society. Which do you think it does?
It's a little of both. I've got some survivorship bias, but I grew up on my family made $12,000 a year. I was on food stamps and donations. I was incredibly poor, intergenerational poverty. And I've been able to work with this medium, collaborate with AI in a way that has allowed me to express myself and be heard in ways I would have had no access to. So when I hear a lot of the anti-AI talk from a class perspective, I often wonder how much of that is in the best interest of, let's say, entrenched systems already. For me, it moves the power into the hands of the individual.
That's lovely. So it sounds like there's a real democratizing and inclusive effect that AI can have, right?
Absolutely, yeah.